All right, everybody. Today we're going to be doing one of my favorite types of painting and experimenting, and that is leaf printing. So I have a few leaves left on my birch tree, and we're going to use some of these. I actually really like these ones that have nibble marks in them and have a variance of size, which is good. So these are fairly flat. So you want something that's got a fairly dense veining. It's raised in the back. Another one that's really good to use is hydrangea leaves because they're fairly big veined. So let's take a few of these off. Like this. I want this nibbled one, I think. And let's see if we have any other ones that we can always take more later. But it's good to have a few. Don't just take one or two. You want different sizes and extras because we're going to add paint to these. But first, before we do that, we're going to add a background to this, and we want it fairly dark. So I have black here, I have umber, and I'm just gonna paint this on. And I have some other colors we got here. I have purple, Payne's Gray even would do. And you want it fairly thick. Now these canvases that I'm using are on a board, and these are fairly inexpensive. I got them on Amazon. I believe there was 20 in a package or something like that. And I want it fairly thick. I don't want to see any of my white canvas through this. So make sure you get all of the sides if you're doing it on a canvas. And don't necessarily have to have it opaque. You could have a little bit of color in it if you want. So we'll let that dry, or you can actually take a heat gun or a hair dryer and dry it. And I think that's what I'll do. I'll be right back. All right, now I've got it nice and dry. And now what I want to do is we're going to add a little bit of white. So I have a titanium white here. And I have some sap green. You can do whatever color you want with this. And I'm making a nice green color. Or if you have already colors in your paint stash that you can use those. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to this. Make it a little more on the greeny side. And I'm going to add blue to this. I kind of want it more on the greenish blue side. So I have cerulean blue here. Actually, I want it fairly dark. So maybe even add, I have some Payne's Gray. Let's see. Payne's Gray. I have it out. Yeah, here's some Payne's Gray. I'm just going to put it there. So I'm going to add Payne's Gray to that because I do want it a fairly dark, actually, this first initial application of color. And then I'm going to try using one of these makeup sponges, because what I want to do is actually just touch the back parts of this. So more or less the veins that I want. We'll see how this goes. I might have to use something a little bit. You just pat it down. You could use a, no, it's too dark. Okay. So it's not going to show, so I want to add a little bit more white to that. Let's try. I'm going to put a little more green in there, or yellow, whatever. Payne's Gray, and just add a little bit of green, and you'll get. And then I'm just going to try using my paintbrush. And then place it down. And if you got a paper towel, you can use that, or a napkin. Just lightly pat it and then lift it. That's not bad. All right, so let's try that again. Put it down there. Lift it. And I want to add this color pretty well as a first layer. Another one. Now, as that one's laying down, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another one, add a little bit more white to this mix. Put it on here. And I'm going to overlap this one. This way, you'll get an overlap. So it looks like it's underneath or on top. Let's try putting this one on. I'm going to put a little bit more of that light color on. Maybe right here. And let's put some on this one. I'm going to put it right here. Maybe right here. Pat it. You're getting overlaps then. Let's do a little bit more white in here. Pat it. Lift it. Let's put one of these over here. Sometimes you have enough on your leaf the second time around. You don't need to put more. Maybe one right here. Lift it. Let's try this one. This is got all the holes and stuff in it. See what it does. Now we could put this one, maybe right here. Lift it. Cool. All right, so let's dry that and then we'll add a second layer. All right, so we dried that and now I'm going to put a layer of glazing on. And this is going to darken whatever is here. So I think I want to probably stick with either a really dark green or more into the blue. Maybe this Payne's Gray again. But I want lots of water for the, actually, I'll get another dish out. I don't want any white in it. So let's pick up that Payne's Gray here. Lots of water. And I'm just going to sweep over top of this. And it'll throw back all of these into the background, which I want to do. That one wasn't quite dry. Gotta make sure it's good and dry or it's gonna move. Unless you want it to move. It's up to you. You could have some. See, the green ones are a little bit darker looking. Okay, and then we need to dry that as well. We have it all nice and dry. This really looks cool. I love it. I like the Payne's Gray. Now, you could have this as a background for any of your paintings, and it would look awesome. But I think we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more leaves. And this is basically just going to be a fall leaf collage of leaves, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. So let's add a few more leaves here. So I'm going to add a little bit more green to this mix. And maybe some yellow. Now you could start mixing oranges or, any of the fall colors, yellows. I'm going to add a little bit of this green and maybe some yellow here and there too. So let's try this little one here. Now it's mixing with the white that I already had on there. Here's some, actually a little bit of, I have some vermilion on my, and let's put this one down right in here. I'm just going to put this paper on top and press it. And while that's sitting there, let's put one of the big ones on again. Okay, where did they put it? Is this one maybe? Maybe we'll add some white and yellow on this. And I'm actually keeping my strokes going in the direction that the leaf would be growing. So we can put this one, maybe, I want to kind of overlap this one, I think. So let's put it like right there, I guess. Put it down. Lift it. Lift it. Cool. Maybe a little bit of this vermilion. A little bit of white. And we'll stick this one over here. Lift it. Very cool. I'll put a little bit more white on my palette here. And we can also paint these out. If you don't like the pattern that it's leaving, you can always paint some out so that you can put your own brush marks as the leaves instead of the leaf itself. Just play with it. These are really fun to do. You can even do like half leaves. Let's see. Let's put this one over here. Nice. I think we need some smaller ones. There's one here. It's got a little bit of yellow in it. Maybe right here, I guess. Stick it. Awesome. And we have this big one again. I think I'll put a little bit more yellow on this one. You could also put brown or whatever you're seeing in your area. And these are birch leaves, so a lot of times they're more on the yellow and brown side. But you don't have to stick with the colors that they're naturally colored. You can always switch them up. Let's see. see. I don't want to cover everything up, but I think I will put it right there. Because I still want to see my background that was made in the blue. Maybe just a little bit there. Like that. Maybe like that. Like that. All right, I think that's good. So there's just the print. Now you could leave this like it is, or you can enhance it. And I'm going to dry this and then I'll see what I want to do. All right. It's nice and dry. So now we can either enhance things, we can do more shadows, we could bring things out more if you want, or just leave it as it is. It's beautiful as it is. I think I'm going to use probably a smaller brush to do a little bit of detail. So I have this, this is a number 2 round, and it's a fairly stiffer brush. So I'm looking at this, and I do have a little bit of kind of that vermilion color there. So I could actually bring a little bit more of that in the picture. But I want it watered down because I still want to see the background of some of this stuff. So you could just take a little bit of this and bring it out a little bit more by just following along where that leaf print is. Maybe it's just along the edge. You could actually, if you have nicely colored leaves, you could probably match the colors on the leaf itself. I'm going to use a little bit of the green here because I do want some of the areas covered up so I'm not seeing through it. So this here will be a little bit more, so just so it looks like it's more on top. It's instead of seeing all of the other areas underneath of the different leaves. I don't want to see that. But that's up to you how you want to approach it. Maybe you want a little bit of this in here. I see a little bit of that. So it's more of a glaze I'm using. Maybe a little bit of the yellow. And that yellow, a lot of these are really beautiful yellow colors. Like that. A little bit of green in there. Depends how much you want, things showing through. I'm going to put a little bit of white in here, I think. think I want this a little bit more opaque, but I want to keep that veining in the stem. So maybe this one will be a little more on the realistic side of things. So just bring that in a little. Could do even the yellow in there. This is the top one, so it would be more detailed, or more of the focal point. That. Okay. You could also do shadowing by just using your, like this is the, what do you call it? Sap green. So lots of water. You'd have a little bit of shadow along the one side. You can shadow those areas. Just those little wee things will help. I'm going to take some of that white with a little bit of yellow in there. I don't want it bright, bright. And a little bit of water. I'm going to make the center stem here. Let's see. A little brighter. That's a little too big. Let's get a smaller brush. This one. A little bit more of a detailed brush here. that. Very lightly. Like so. And a little bit of that darker color just underneath. Darken some of the areas. Maybe even a little bit of black to that. Just to make it a little bit of a shadow here. Like that. Just along there. Depends how, how detailed you want to get. Could be just very simple. Let's get some more of that black. Let's do a little bit of shading right along here, along the edge. Maybe this one is overlapping it. That. Soften the edge a little bit. That. Kind of blur it out. This one up here could be the same. Just a little bit of, doesn't have to be a lot, just a bit. That. Same with this one. Let's see. Just right in there. That's here, the edge. Even these background ones could be darkened also around some of these leaves. If you're finding they're kind of disappearing a bit, Just put a darker edge around. And that'll bump them up a little bit. Okay, let's put a little bit more in here. This one to show up a little bit more, so I'm making it a little darker. That. Maybe this one here a little bit more. It's pretty good. Even around this edge of this one here, it could be darker. This is that one that's kind of got the holes and been nibbled at. Like I said, these could be great backgrounds also. So say you wanted to have, oh, I don't know, a face painting on top, or Halloween character, anything really. You don't have to have real dark backgrounds either. If you want to do more of a lighter background, would look cool too. That here. That. It's kind of got a nibble mark in it. Right in here. Right here. It just emphasizes the leaf more on the edge. It's almost like reverse painting, actually. I think it's cool. It's got a lot of possibilities in design. Just adding a little bit along the vein there. Make it show up a little bit more. And you don't have to put all this extra in. If you like it just the way it is, great. I like detail, so that's why I tend to go above and above what's needed. And you kind of have to be careful though, because you can go a little too far. And I've done that, definitely. But you never know until you try. So let's put a little bit of a border here. good. And you'll see, spots where maybe you want it darker. It's up to you. I kind of like the mysterious look of it. I think it looks cool. So let's dry that, and then we'll see if we're done or not. All right. So I'm not sure if I like this one here. And I think it was that. Pretty sure it was that one. So what I'm going to do, now this may totally mess it up, but this is just paint. So just try things. And I'm going to put this on and see what kind of mark I'll get. Just lightly rubbing it. It's not bad. Kind of like it. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. It's very, very, I don't know what you'd call it. Impressionistic, maybe, is the word I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm going to try something again. Maybe crazy. Let's put some blue. Is that blue? No, that's black. Let's put some blue, Payne's gray, over top of this and see what it looks like. Now it's going to push it back again. But I kind of like it. It does give rustic look. And the reason why I'm doing this is I'm thinking of putting another layer on top. even here. Okay. Now you can take a baby wipe and wipe away bits too. Let's see what we got. If you find you've got a little bit too much hiding, you can brighten it up by just taking your baby wipe. That. Okay, I like that. That's kind of cool. Okay. All right, let's dry that. Dry, and I'm just placing some leaves on here and seeing what it is that I want to do. I want something as the main focal point. And I think if I just have the two of these, that would be good. So what do I want color-wise? I do have a little bit of this color in here, but I think I want to go with more of a goldy color. I'm going to put a little bit of sienna in there. White. And I can always paint over it as like a real detailed leaf, maybe. We'll see. This is just experimenting. Having fun. Not sure what I want to do yet, but I'll see. All right. I think I'm going to make sure my paint strokes are going a certain way, just in case those do show. So we'll put this guy, I think I'm gonna put it right here. I want a really good imprint. That's pretty good. Actually, that's really good. Okay, let's do the same with this little one here. Okay, and this one was gonna leave. Go like this. Pat it. Make sure it's transfers most of the paint. Not bad. All right. So now what we can do is I'm going to paint this one in, I think. And I'm going to have this as more of a detailed leaf. So I'm going to add all kinds of detail and veins, but I'm just going to keep the outline of it for where I need to paint. You can do this also. You don't have to just keep the leaf print. If you don't like it, paint over it. It's kind of got a little that. So I can use this brush as a way of putting in my streaks. So there'll be a little bit of color here and there. It is turning different shades, but this can be the initial color. Yeah, I like that. Okay. We'll do that with this one too. This can be done with any leaf either. If you have maples or beech or oaks, this can be done with all of those. The only thing you have to try and do, though, is make sure that they lay flat when you press them down. Because if they're too dry, they'll crinkle and they're kind of hard to get a good imprint. Water my brush. I really like these though. I do love acrylic painting, but I must admit I do tend to go back to mixed media. I do love mixed media, I must say. That's probably why most of my watercolor paintings that I do those on Tuesdays if you're interested in watercolor. And I usually add either colored pencil or gouache. I just find it easier for me to do details with those. You can even use pastels, soft pastels. Just want to make sure I have a fair amount covering up that background so I can go back in and do a little bit more detail painting. I do want those edges of the leaves defined. See, I'm starting to take up some of my paint, and that's telling me to stop. All right, let's try that. All right. So now we can do a little bit more detail. So I have my, this is a number 0 detail brush, very, very small tip. And I want fairly light in some areas, so mainly down the stem here. So a little bit more on the white side. And then some of these leaf veins areas on the sides can be light. I don't have to put them all in, but and pay attention to how they are lined up. And these ones are parallel to each other. It's a very, very light application, not too in your face. And the same could be done with this one. You don't have to put right to the end either. A lot of times you only see part of it depending on the leaf, the size. Very, very light. And then a little bit more on the yellow side things. We'll have a little bit of a shadow. So depending on what side you want to put this on, make sure you do it on the same side with the others. So I'm going to put it underneath here just a bit because the vein would be kind of sticking out. think I'll put it in here too. Okay. And then you can also, you could add a little bit of green too, depending on the, or even a little bit of umber. Let's put some umber with that, make it a little bit brownish color. Sometimes you'll see the ends of the, let's put a little bit more brown in there maybe. Depends on, how detailed you want to go. I like it, but not everybody likes a lot of detail. But I do. So I tend to go down this rabbit hole. You could take a leaf and study it. See what it there'd be. Sometimes there's holes. Sometimes there's just spots because it's starting to die off. Little dots of where it's dying. Tips might be a little bit have fun with it. I don't have one in front of me, but I'm just kind of guessing. It's up to you how much you want to. How much detail. I like it. Like I said before, I'm a detail fanatic. It's just very relaxing for me to get into detail. And this one here, let's put a little bit of down the center here, maybe on some of the veins. It would be darker. Could be totally different color too. Maybe it's got a little bit more brown. Maybe it's turning faster than the other ones. They're all different. Don't worry about making it exactly the same as the other one because they're not the same. This one might have a little bit of green in it, maybe. I'm going to put some more dark here and there, the edges. Okay. That. Oop, keep putting it, sorry. All right, now I think I'm going to take a stiffer brush. Let's do a bristle brush, I guess. And I'm going to get some dark brown here and mix it. Bit of, and I'm just going to splatter. I want a little bit. They do have these little specks on them. Okay. And then what you can do is wherever you don't want it, so say on the middle of the spine here, you can take a little bit of white, just go up there, and it'll cover it. That. Need to, you can go on the that. All right. You could also wet them. If you want them a little bit more smudgeable. So it would be. Some of them are maybe a little bit darker on the edges here. I think that that's pretty good. You could take also Posca if you want some really accurate lines. Oh, there's some black areas too. I think that's pretty well all I'm gonna do though. Don't mind that. Maybe a little bit of, looks like I went a little overboard there. Now I could take some of that Payne's Gray again, some water, so as a glaze, and wherever they're crossing over another, you can put a little bit of a shadow in there. That'll help. Bring out those shadowed areas. Just helps them to pop up a little bit more and be noticed. Like on here, a little bit darker, casting a shadow. Around here. So it just pops them up a little bit when you do this. I think, anyways. You don't have to. It's your painting. You do it to the extent that you want. I'm just showing you what I do to help you get some ideas, things to try. It doesn't mean you have to do them. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I might bring that out a little bit. it's not so I don't want it looking like a wall, if you know what I mean. Because then I think it's too deliberate looking. There. That's pretty well all I'm going to do. Just soften that edge up a little bit. And I bet you didn't think you could soften edges. I think you can. All right. So there is my leaf for fall. And I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, you can make these into fantastic backgrounds too. So play with them. Let's see what you can do with them. Should I put a, I think I'm going to put a black Posca on instead of white. I don't want my signature being a distraction. So we'll just put right there. Awesome. All right. So there it is. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you'll give it a try. And this is number 22 of Painting a Day. Have a good one, everyone. Bye for now.